Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NMP Talk Show, the show that keeps you informed and engaged with topics about your mental health wellness. And I want to welcome my co-host Figile Nkosi. Figile, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nero. Welcome, everyone. We are live today on our Riverside platform. That's Riverside FM. We're live on Telegram. We are live on YouTube, and we are live on TikTok. Do join us. House rules. Every house has got its own rules. So today's house rules: if you are on Telegram, just grab the mic and then you just press. We will give you the mic. You'll be able to ask a question or pass a comment to our guest speaker today or to the show. And if you are on Riverside, on the chat box, just type your question. We'll read it out for you, and the guest speaker will be able to answer you. And if you are on TikTok, you can just write your comment on the comment section, same as when you are on YouTube. And then we will have all your questions, all your comments read out on our show. What is our show about today, Noah?
Right. Yes. Today we're talking about the importance of having a medical aid cover, especially at the early stage of your career. And as you know, there are a lot of misconceptions about having one or not even having a medical aid cover when you're starting to work. Because at that time, you're active, you're healthier, I think. We hope so.
You
And
believe.
you don't see the need to have a medical aid. Or I, for one, I did
Mhm,
not see the reason why I should have one because I never visited a doctor for a longest time, and
mhm,
my employer said you need to have a medical aid cover, and I said, but why? I don't need one. So today we're going to talk all about that, and we do
mhm,
have a special guest that has come on board to help us discuss the reasons why we need to have a medical aid cover. And his
mhm.
name is Anthony Morton, who's the authorized financial planner. And I know that you know Anthony Figile. Maybe
I
you
do.
can do.
I do. I've been working with Anthony for a while now. That's why he's our speaker today.
Yeah.
Hey.
So let me give you the honors to introduce him. To make him
Okay.
feel at home.
You know what? I don't want to do injustice for him. Let's welcome
Yeah.
Anthony on stage and he will introduce himself. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you very much. And for the privilege, and it's such a privilege to educate the youth and young adults about the way forward on mental health. I think there's a great need for it in South Africa. I think there's a great gap in the reality of life, versus,
Mhm,
Mm.
not needing one. Neo, as you're speaking about the active, unfortunately, the youngsters of today are not as active as what you and I were when we were
mhm.
younger, except for their thumbs,
That's true.
Exactly.
except their thumbs on their cell phones. I think their thumb
Mhm,
But
muscles are
mhm.
very, very strong, but the rest I'm not too
They're the
sure about.
strongest ones.
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's absolutely amazing how they can text even without looking on the screen. You know, they'll engage in a conversation with you, but text something else,
Mhm.
to someone else, and they don't even look at the screen. So I think their thumb muscles are very, very
multitasking.
strong. But besides that, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. So
Thank you
Anthony,
for that, Anthony. But kindly give us a brief background. As our guest, we appreciate having you on stage today. But give us a little bit background on who Anthony is.
Oh, okay. I'm not too sure how far back, but let's do a short synopsis of it. I'm married for 34
Yes.
years now. I got two kids,
Mhm.
two grandchildren. Um, we still looking for a wife for the other son. He doesn't seem to be too successful at it. So I think now we need to, as parents, climb in. I've
we'll
got
bring him
my
on the show.
yeah, I've got my master's degree in pastoral psychology. So I'm very involved in with that as well. And then in this industry, I've been working for about 7 to 8 years. I've been working in the financial
Mhm.
industry, and one of my passions, one of them, there are a few passions, but one of them is definitely medical and the wellness, because unfortunately I've seen too many people come to the reality of wellness, a medical aid, late in life, and then there are too many
Mhm.
exclusions, where
Mm.
you
Yeah.
actually need it when you're young. Yeah, so that's like a brief
You,
summary of
you
everything.
already touched on our topic today, but let's get into it. Let's get
Yeah.
into it.
Which one is that?
You know, like our host Neo there, he mentioned that we don't see a need of having medical aid. I just
Mm.
finished my undergrad. I get a job, I sign, and the first thing my employer says, you need to have medical aid. If you do not have, we will offer you one and you have to pay. Some they say
Yeah.
it's part of the cost to company. Some they say you have to pay it out of your salary, but it's a must have. Why is it important to have it as young as I am, or just when I am joining in the corporate world?
Uh, Actually, for the very simple reason, the longer you leave to join a medical aid, the more exclusions you can have. And let me explain it this way. When you're undergraduate, you're healthy, you go to the gym or don't go to the gym, but in essence, there's nothing wrong with you. All right.
Mhm,
That
mhm, mhm,
So there's no need. You might go see the pharmacist for a flu medicine once a year and that, but otherwise you don't need it. But guess what is the second biggest cause for unnatural deaths in South Africa? Take a guess.
mhm.
Any of you two?
Uh,
I'll
cholesterol.
say car accidents.
Car accidents. So unnatural causes
Hmm.
is car accidents. And if you have not got a medical aid, you might not get the necessary treatment urgently as what is needed. As opposed to if
Mm,
you have got a medical aid, then they can take you to any hospital, depending on what scheme you go on, and you can get the necessary treatment and survive. Unfortunately, not
mhm.
everyone does survive, but that's just one
Yeah.
reason why it's important. Because although you're healthy, although you run the marathons, you go to the gym, and you do all that, you do not know what could come along your path in while you're on the road, because accidents happen. The
Mhm,
second biggest causes of non natural deaths is car accidents. So we all are
mhm,
exposed
mhm.
to that, and even if it's for that one reason, that should warrant a person
Mm.
to have a medical aid.
Yeah.
And to jump in there quickly, talking about car accidents, when you start getting a good job, a good paying salary, and especially boys, I cannot talk about
You're
you
not a
ladies.
girl, we understand.
Yeah, you can take up that part. We go to you go for fast cars,
Mhm,
you
Mm,
know.
yes.
I don't know now. It's still the in thing to go for a Vrpa. I don't know if you know the expression, Anthony.
No, no,
A
no.
Vrpa is it's a
Golf, all
Golf
right.
6 or
Oh,
mini Golf, which
and
is the
that's
high
got a
spec
lot
one
of power,
with
hey?
four pipes.
That's got a lot of power.
Yeah,
yeah.
with four pipes, and when you accelerate, it gives that sound, the Vrpa, and that's why they coined it there.
Okay, all right.
Those cars are very fast. I'm not
Mm.
talking about just VWs. I'm talking about across the board. So we tend to go for those kind of cars on the roads, and we're flexing when we're on the road. And unfortunately, during that time when we're flexing, uh, it's when we can have that accident.
One thing I know and experienced is that the government sector, because of the number of patients they have to take in, they tend to run out mostly on medicine. They tend to run out or things break while they are tending to other patients. And you find that
Mm,
the doctors are working under pressure because there are
Yes.
no
mm,
equipment. Whereas in the private sector, it's private. If you've got your own money, you can go there and you can be attended to. Say, for instance, you have a heart attack and you go to whatever government hospital and they don't have the facility to take care of you. But you can go to the private hospital and they tell you, do you have medical aid? If not, you have to cough up like 50,000 rand. Who's
Yeah.
got 50,000 rand lying somewhere on your pocket? So
Mm.
I do agree with you, Anthony, the
yeah,
comparison when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Any
yeah.
other reasons other than the ones that we have stated to you,
And
it comes to mind?
another reason is illnesses. While you're young, you're healthy, so there are no
Mhm,
exclusions. Now, let's take a person, he is healthy, he's fine, and he goes through life and he starts climbing the corporate ladder. And the first thing that's going to hit him is stress. I think if you
mhm,
don't have stress, you're not living, you know. So, and stress causes hypertension. Right.
mhm,
So
Mm,
there's a strong correlation between stress and hypertension. And if you
mhm,
haven't got a medical aid and you find out you need to go on a chronic medication of any sort, but let's just discuss hypertension for now, you will have
mhm,
a 12-month exclusion on that specific condition. Now, say you
mm,
join a
mhm,
medical aid later, you'll normally have a 3 months exclusion of everything. So, no matter what, except a
mhm,
PMB, and I can just give you a short definition afterwards of a PMB. Except for a PMB, you are excluded for 3 months. And then
mhm,
specific conditions that you are suffering from before joining the medical aid, you could have a 12-month exclusion. So that means, now let's go for hypertension. That means for 12 months, you
mhm,
need to buy your own medicine while you are still paying a
mhm,
medical aid. If
mhm.
your hypertension is not under control and they admit you to hospital, that
It has to be
full
paid for, right?
account is for your pocket.
it's on you.
It's on you.
Hmm.
Where if you join a medical aid when you're healthy, when you're young, and everything is good, your premiums are much lower depending on what option you are on. Your premiums can start as little as about, say, 1,000 rand, and then you grow
Mhm,
as your family grows. You can improve your stuff, but when and if something like this happens, there's no exclusions. You are
mhm,
automatically covered instantly.
mhm,
As soon as you've been
mhm,
Mm,
diagnosed, you are covered with that.
mhm,
Where if you
mhm.
don't join while you are young and healthy, you might experience those exclusions. So that's another, actually, a very, very big reason.
I think it should be a
so
big reason.
really, can
Yes,
can can
no.
I jump in there?
Yes.
How you put it, Anthony, makes me think. I'll compare it to a car insurance.
Mhm,
I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong there, because when you take a car insurance,
Yeah.
they also look at how long you've had being covered
Mm,
so that you can have a better rate.
mm, mm,
Would that same scenario apply with your medical aid? That I've taken medical aid cover since I've started working,
yes.
and I'm 20 years into my career. I'm still paying for medical aid. Do
Yes.
I get some, discounts or the?
Absolutely. Absolutely. After the age of 35, if you haven't been
Hmm,
on medical aid, you start paying late join penalties.
Joe.
Okay, so that fee, that, let's just say for argument's sake, it's 200 Rand. All right. You will pay that 200 Rand for the rest of your life. It's included
Mhm,
in your premiums forever,
mhm,
Hmm,
because you did not have cover before the age of 35. But coming back to the cars, us men, we like the cars. All right. So
Yeah.
that made me think of a true story, my story. Actually, I got a car, and and it's got a bit of dents and bumps and bruises, and all around the, especially the bumper at the back, and that. It's a second-hand car, and
mhm,
I put it on my car insurance, but they will not repair that. That is excluded from my car insurance because it's a pre-existing condition on my car. So I
Hmm,
need to repair it, send them proof of the repair, and then it's covered. And that's exactly the same with medical aid. You know, if you have got a pre-existing condition before you join, you will have that exclusion for 12 months. And and that 12 months can be a critical, especially if it's a chronic condition, because if you've got a chronic condition for 12 months, to have no cover on that
hmm.
chronic condition, there's a reason why they call it chronic, can be very, very
mhm,
dangerous.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, that's scary. It's something that
No, it's not
someone
scary.
getting in
No,
line.
it's not scary. It's eye opening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, scary, eye-opening, if I can
Mm.
add the two words. Be-
Yeah.
Because I feel that this information should be shared to students,
Yes.
before
Yes.
they come out of yeah, out of education sector,
System.
or I
Mhm,
don't know,
mhm.
institutions, before they go into the workplace. Because
Yeah.
you get there, you've graduated, or you just come out of your matric. Because of circumstances, you have to go and look for a job, and you don't see the need to have that medical aid.
Mhm,
But life changes, and if it
Yeah.
changes without you having one, it becomes more difficult. Then um, we start thinking, especially after the age of 35, you start thinking about having a medical cover, because your life is deteriorating at the time.
mhm.
Yeah.
And when you go hunting for one, and those premiums, you're
They
the,
hide.
out the roof, and you're
They
thinking,
hide.
why is medical care so expensive? And,
Mhm,
and then you have to have it.
mhm,
um me and my wife, we just the two of us, we don't have children. Now
mhm.
I'm thinking of those that have children, 3 children, 4 children,
Mm.
and it's a husband and a wife. Now it's five
Plus
members.
the kids. Mhm.
Yo, plus the cats, ne?
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus the
Yeah.
kids.
It does.
Oh,
You
It,
know,
that gets expensive.
sorry,
yes, yes,
Virginia.
you can go, Anthony.
I say
You can go, Anthony.
it's a necessary expense. It's
Mm,
really, it's something that I don't believe any South African can be without. There are so many different options. I know it's expensive, but compared to
mhm,
what could happen, it's not
Mm,
expensive.
Mhm.
So,
yeah.
and there are so many
You're
different
saying it,
options.
you're viewing it, you are viewing it as an expense, Anthony. To me, it's an investment because you can
In
think
yourself.
of the hole it's gonna open in your pocket if you don't have it.
Mm,
Yeah.
If you had an emergency savings, or
mm,
you'll have to take up a loan to pay for those medical bills. You
Yes.
mm,
have to take up maybe you use your credit card just to pay off that medical bill, and
Mm.
it's a once off medical bill. So to me, it's an investment to have such, instead of looking at it as an expense, because the minute I say it's an expense that I can cut off, of which
Yeah.
that's what
Yes.
most South
Very
Africans
true.
are doing. When
Mm.
things are going tough, they cut out on those investment. And I think coming having you on our show today, it's just an eye opener to say, hey, don't look at it as an expense. Look at it as an investment. Look at what might happen if you do not. But
Yes.
like we said, it's expensive. There are
Yeah.
yeah.
various options. Care to share the options with us and how to
Okay.
choose the
Before
options?
before we go to the options, we do
Yeah.
have a hand raised on Telegram.
Okay.
And just to make everyone aware, if you're on Telegram, you can raise your hand, and then we'll pick you, unmute you, and then you can comment or ask a question to our guest. And other platforms as well, you have your chat option there. You can use it, and we'll be able to read your question out. Let's allow Hilda. Hilda, welcome to our show. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
I really agree with Figile and your guest there. When I was in my 20s, medical aid was something that is just expensive for nothing.
Hmm.
To the point where I had a motorbike incident where I didn't even want to go to the doctor because I felt very good. I felt like I'm still young, there's nothing wrong. I mean, I woke up from that accident and I went. Not until the age 50. Then I started having migraines and all that.
Hmm.
And guess what? The medical aid came handy that time
Hmm.
because during the when I go to visit the doctor and check, and then the X-rays showed that I've got cracks on my neck,
Ooh,
and that was the cause of the migraines. Guess how
yes.
much was the operation to fix my neck, to put the screws back on my neck? 158,000.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Where was I going to get that amount of money?
158,000.
So really, yes, when you are young, I agree. I was there. Medical aid was something that was just an expense for me. I didn't even want to have it, but it has helped me a lot. And not only on those incident of the motorbike, on every issues that relating to my health, the
Hmm.
medical aid has come to my rescue. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Hilda,
much,
for that
Hilda.
comment. I can also relate to that in that, growing up, my dad had medical aid cover, and I've never enjoyed. I would say I would never enjoyed life like that because whenever I felt a pain, a small pain, I would go to the doctor. We have a medical aid cover until I started working. When I got 21, and then they said no, you're not covered
You're over
anymore. I
the
felt
age
the
limit.
pinch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt the pinch like, whoa, now I have to get my own medical cover. But I didn't want to get one, but I was forced to do that. And I don't know how far I went with it. But yeah, it was just a pain on the neck. But I see the reason why one would have to have one.
Mhm.
We can be healthy, but we cannot run away from accidents. We cannot run away
That's
from
true.
That's it.
unexpected events, in our lives, that would need to be covered. Go for hospital operations and all of that.
You know,
So I
it's,
Talking
believe
about
you
not
also,
running away before Anthony answers
yeah,
my question, talking about
yeah,
running away from accidents. You know what's funny? When you're buying a car, the dealership will tell you you're not going to take it out if you don't have car
Yeah.
insurance.
Yeah.
But you are not insured, you don't have a medical aid
Mhm.
with you, but the car dealer says you cannot take this car. So you can see what's more important, the car, your life when you are inside that motor
Yeah.
vehicle and it causes an accident, where will you be? So think about it that way. I
Mm.
didn't need an answer on that one. Yes, Anthony, you can come in.
Um, it just uh, to join into what the caller said, you know, my late brother, he he passed away at the age of 29 from cholesterol,
Mm.
the silent killer. You know,
Mm,
so and he played a lot of sport. So it doesn't mean because you're fit and healthy, you are immune to diseases and illnesses. And why I'm mentioning that is because when you have a medical aid, I think I'm going to be bold enough to say all medical aids give you a screening facility at least once a year where
Mm.
you can go
mhm,
screen for all the vital stuff for free. It doesn't come out
mhm,
of your savings. You don't need to uh, pay for it. For ladies from 40, you can go for your mammograms. Men 50, you can go for your prostate. And even before that, you can go for cholesterol, higher hypertension, and all the stuff. So even with a medical aid, they have the screening drives that you can attend and get for free just because you got the medical aid. And that can
mhm.
save a life. Just that alone
Yeah.
can even save a life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Thanks for that, Anthony. I have a question for you. I think I'll be asking on behalf of a lot of youngsters. I, I, I I still think of myself as a youngster, Figili,
It's
just for your
okay.
notebook.
Now it's okay. We can take
Yes.
that.
So, the question is, what are some key features to look for when you looking for a medical plan?
Okay.
You know,
All right. So
yeah.
yes, that's a very good question because it all determine your you as a person. You're healthy,
Mm,
you go to the gym, you do everything and that, and you're never sick. You basically need a very good hospital plan. All right.
mm,
Say you come a bit more advanced in age, you've got a you're married and you're starting a family, you'll need a fuller medical aid than just a hospital plan. Yeah. So it
Mhm,
really depends on the stages of life on where you are. But what's
mm,
nice thing about the government and what they've done is there's 27 chronic conditions that are paid even if you've just got a hospital plan. Those chronic conditions, we're talking about hypertension. So even if you got a hospital plan, the hospital plan has to pay for the medicine, your monthly medicine for your chronic condition. All right. So
mhm,
that's a good
mm,
place to start. But if you're more advanced or you've got a family, you've got kids, obviously just a hospital plan won't work because
yeah.
your kids, if they're small, they always falling off trees or bumping their toes or needing stitches or they get the measles and all that. So you might need a more comprehensive cover than just a hospital plan. But now the medical aid has evolved. In my days, I won't say your days as well because you need to disclose your own age. We had we had what we called today traditional medical aid. You go to the
Yeah.
doctor, they pay. You go to hospital, they pay. You go for X-rays, they pay. And so it was, but now they've restructured it, so you can have a hospital plan with a savings. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't use the savings, it rolls over to the next month, to the next year, or some medical aids pay it out to you. All right. So
Mm.
that is always for me a very good option. Have a good
Mm.
comprehensive hospital plan, and then just add maybe 400, 500 rand savings to it. Depends on which option you go to. And that if
Mm.
you need something, you've got the money, because we all know Murphy's Law. You will need that something when the budget is not there that month. The month
Exactly.
Most
before
And
of
who's
that,
the
this
the
time.
budget
Murphy?
will be there. And the next month, the budget will be there. But that month, there's no budget. And
Mm.
It
that's where
won't
the
be.
savings come
Mhm.
in. It's your money. You do not lose it. It rolls over
Mhm.
to the next year, and then some of them allow
Mm.
you to withdraw it. So that's a very good option for the young person finishing a degree, starting to work, and everything. That's where I would start. And just to touch onto that is, today most companies are going cost to company. All right. So what cost to company means is, Nia, I give you 20,000 Rand. Out of that
Mm.
20,000 Rand, you need to sort out your life. You sort out your medical aid, you sort out your retirement, you sort out everything. You sort out,
The rest.
that's how
Mhm.
much we're getting.
Your life.
Where in yesteryear, it wasn't like a cost to company. We had the French benefits. So you would get your take home salary, and then on top of that, the company would pay 50% of your pension and 50% of your medical aid. Your government still does
Mm.
that, and ESCOM does that. And a lot of your big corporate companies, they do that. So that's
Mhm.
way it's changed today. 90% of the companies use cost to company. So, which means they will tell you you have to have a medical aid, but it's up to you to get
Mhm.
one if they haven't got one in house. Where they say, all right, we've got a
Mm.
contract now with Medical Aid X. So if you work here, you have to join Medical Aid X, because it comes off your salary, and you immediately you get your tax benefits from it, and there you go.
Mhm.
Or if you don't want Medical X, you want Medical Y, you need, it doesn't come off your salary, you need to pay for it yourself, and you don't get the immediate tax benefit. So that's, I hope that answers that question. Yeah.
It's very nice and tricky, Anthony. I'm sitting here thinking of me as a young figile, and they give me 20,000 on top of what they say they will pay me, and they say sort yourself out. What are the dangers of that if I don't really look at the importance of having all those things? Because, like you have said, 20,000, it's a lot of money if
Again.
it's coming to my salary and they saying I need to sort out my retirement annuity, my risk cover, my funeral cover, my medical aid, and I will be looking at it as an expense. So now to me it comes as an expense. As, do I really
Yeah.
need to have a medical aid? Do I really need to have to save for retirement? What are the dangers of doing that?
The dangers, I think, come back to our schooling, where I think they have not
Mm.
educated the youth well enough on money management. Now, we must remember, a lot of people come out a poor environment.
Hmm.
All right. So that's a reality for a lot of people across South Africa.
Yes.
But um,
Yeah.
in my experience, what tops the list, even above a medical aid for parents, is education for their children. And so we're seeing a lot of youngsters coming through varsity now, but although their family is uh, could be considered poor, or let's say mouth, hand to mouth, with their salary. So
Yeah.
now all of a
Mhm.
sudden they're exposed to 20,000. They've got a nice 4 year degree. They're exposed to 20,000 where their whole life they've never seen 20,000. And because they were not
Mm,
trained
mm.
and educated the importance of financial well-being, on financial discipline, unfortunately that money goes to the car that makes the noise, until
Yep.
one day when their own engine starts making a noise, and then it could be too late. So money
Yeah.
Yeah.
discipline is the biggest danger out there across the board for all the youngsters, because all of a sudden they are earning X amount of money, and suddenly they're rich, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you feel rich.
You feel
Definitely.
rich until you poor.
Yeah,
You know,
until
you
three
touched
months
on that.
later, yeah, until 3 months later, then you
Exactly.
want another increase.
That's so true. And another thing I'm thinking about now, Anthony. Most of the time, you actually told us as to what is it that we need to look for when we're choosing medical aid. But of late, most doctors are charging more than what the medical aid covers.
Yes,
What
yes.
is it that, as individuals, we need to look at? Yes, I can
Well,
be having a good medical aid, but medical aid says
sorry.
they pay 300% and the doctor charges 600% of the scheme rate. What is it that I need to do? Will I have to pay it? Is there any other option for me to do it?
I'm so glad you asked that, because that it's called a gap cover. The answer is called a gap cover. So now I'm trying to formulate my thoughts and as a gap cover, because you know how that is so important. Actually, in my opinion, a person shouldn't take out a medical aid without a gap cover, because it should be like
Mhm,
one product. Although it's two different
mhm,
products, in a person's mind and in their budget and in their reasoning, it should be one thing. All right, for argument's sake,
mhm,
let's do the car accident. No, car
Mm.
accident's PMB. Remind me to explain PMB to you. All right, so
yeah.
let's say a person has hypertension, and that person has a stroke. All right. So
Mhm,
they rush into hospital. As we all know, within the first hour of a stroke is the most critical, where they actually
mhm,
can reverse damage. Not always, but the
mhm,
chances are very, very good. After that, it
mhm,
actually deteriorates. But they go into a
mhm,
hospital. They there and have the treatment. The surgeon comes and there's bleeding on the brain, operates, takes it out, and your surgeon, who you are so eternally grateful for, charges you 500% of medical aid rates. Now,
mhm.
Yeah.
and that's the norm, by the way. You're shaking your head.
Yeah.
That is the norm. And then your a good medical aid might pay 200%. All right.
Yeah.
But even that's a PMB. So we can't choose that. But anyway, let's just go with that and I'll explain PMB. Then
Yeah. Yeah.
he charges 500%, and your medical aid, good medical aid, pays 200%, and there's a shortfall of 300%. Your gap cover will pay the 300% to fill up to the 500. All right.
100%.
So
Mhm,
But that was a bad example because it's a PMB. And by
I'll give you a good example. I go to, I'm pregnant and it's delivery time, and then I
yeah,
go to my hospital and I need to get, what's this doctor?
cesarean.
They say it has to be an emergency C section. The
Yeah,
doctor that makes me fall asleep nicely for them to operate for C section charges 500% skim rate, and I get the pediatrician, I get the gynecologist. So now it's three doctors, and all of them they try they
and the
charge more than
anaesthetist,
the skin rate.
and the anaesthetist.
Yes, that one.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that
So,
one.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a brilliant example because then the gap
Yeah.
cover pays the difference. But here's the thing with the gap cover: your medical
Mhm.
aid needs to pay at least 1 rand of that item on that code. Because
Mhm.
now, say you have
Yeah.
a C-section. C-section can constitute of 5 different codes. One
Yeah.
for the scalpel,
Yeah.
one for cutting, one for this, one for that.
Yeah.
Per
Mm.
item line, the medical aid
Mhm.
has to pay at least 1 rand for the
Mhm.
gap
For
cover
them
to
to be
kick
able
in.
to cover.
If the medical
Oh.
aid pays nothing, the gap cover doesn't kick in. All right, so that
So you'll still have to pay
yeah,
some of the things that are not paid by medical aid, even if you've got gap cover. But
it,
what is nice about gap cover is that you're paying less than what you will normally pay if
a
you didn't
lot,
have the
lot,
gap
lot
cover.
less, a lot less. Okay, so
Yeah.
before next question, a PMB is any condition where a medical intervention needs to take place to save your life. That's called a PMB,
Hmm.
and the medical aid has to pay 100% of that account. Doctor's account,
Hmm.
blood test, theatre, everything. So a
Hmm.
PMB is any condition like a car accident, a stroke, a heart attack, etc., etc. They have to pay the full account of that. So your
Hmm.
example is a lot better of a delivery. You know, that's not
Yeah.
considered a
Yeah.
Yeah.
PMB unless there's major
Hmm.
complications and your life is in danger. Then that could be a
Is in
PMB.
danger. Hmm.
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 Yeah. So I see we're running after time now.
Oh, we just
It's
started.
always like this when we having
We
fun.
know,
We
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 just
just started.
started, Anthony. You can say that again.
So here's a question for you, Anthony.
Sure.
And I think you've covered a little bit of it, but just to highlight it to our audience is what are the benefits of having a medical aid cover as a young person, um, affecting your daily lifestyle and your peace of mind?
I, I was going to say peace of mind because we all
Mm,
know the dangers on the road today. We all know that.
yeah.
So just to know that you are covered in the event of something might happen, that should give you
Mm,
peace of mind. It doesn't mean you become more reckless. It doesn't mean you take greater chances. None of that is true. It actually just means you become
Mhm.
a lot more responsible with your life. And the thing of
mm,
taking out a medical aid from the word get go is then you've already put it in your budget. So you've
mm,
already excluded that money from spending. So you're not going to miss it. It's when you don't have it, you've been spending the money, and now you want to take out a medical aid, and then suddenly you realize, I've got no money,
Mhm.
because I've been
Mhm.
spending it on whatever they spend it on.
Something else.
But if it's part
yeah.
of your budget
Mhm.
from the word go, and
Mm,
I dare to say risk cover and retirement planning, all that should be part of your budget from the word go. then you'll never miss it
Mhm.
in spending because you've never had it to spend, but you've enriched your
Yeah.
life.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, this was very informative, and I think we also need more time to explore this topic. I thought it was going to be like a 15-minute talk, telling us you need to have medical aid cover because it helps you this way and that, and that's it. But but, but we can go, the whole night talking about the benefits of having one.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I just want to appeal to those that are connected, our audience. If you do have any question, any comment, please raise your hand from Telegram. We'll unmute you and you can ask. And those that are connected here on Telegram, Riverside, you are also more than welcome to use a chat box to ask the question. We left with a few minutes that we can spare for you. Any comments or questions from TikTok,
From
Figri?
my side, no, they were actually they wanted to join in, so I couldn't let
Mm,
them join in.
okay.
Unfortunately, they
All right.
if you have any question, if you joined on TikTok and you've got any question to ask, unfortunately, I cannot accept guests. You can just type in your question, and we will pass it to our guest speaker today,
Yeah.
and we'll be able to get the answers.
All right. So let's wrap up, Anthony. With the experience that you have, wealth of experience that you have in this industry, you've seen the pros and cons of having and not having a medical aid cover. Um, what would you put on the plate and say this is what you need to consider seriously?
Okay. Once again, depending on your family, is it a single? Is it a family with
Mm,
children? Just husband and wife? But the bare essential is a good is a good hospital plan. All right. There are a range of hospital plans where you can go to any hospital, or you can just go to network hospitals. Number one. So it depends on your own need. But most network hospitals are just about all the hospitals around you anyway. It could be all the Netcare hospitals. It could be all the life hospitals. So it really, you need to see where you are and what medical aid, which brand you want to go with, and then find out are their network hospitals available for that specific brand. So that's number one. Entry level, definitely a hospital plan. A nice to have would be a little bit of savings on that, even if it's 300 Rand. Once again, depends on which medical scheme you go to, what's their minimum you can have, and you never lose that money. If you resign from that medical aid, you get that money back. So it's additional savings account, but specifically for
does it
medical.
accumulate though? Mm.
Sorry?
Does it
Mhm.
accumulate?
Yeah.
Does
Yes.
the savings accumulate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So,
All right.
some
You
work out.
said mm,
Mm,
sorry about that. You said hospital covers also would cover your chronic
yes.
medication. Did I
27
hear right?
conditions.
Yes.
Yes. Your
27
basic
condition. Just on
27.
a hospital cover
That's
only.
even on a hospital plan. That's law. Yes, but now just keep
Yeah.
in mind,
Okay.
every hospital plan or medical cover, the more expensive you go, the more medicines they allow for that condition.
Mm,
Let's just use example. Say you
mm,
have a basic hospital plan, and they allow
mm,
headache tablets. They might give you a Panado, and they'll pay for the Panado
mm,
Mhm.
because it's in that chronic condition, in that formulary, where that's what they will cover. But now you go to a full medical aid, they might give you, I don't know, stoke pain or something like that. So Each different plan
mm,
has got its own group of medicines that you will qualify
mm,
for that condition. So you'll have the same condition, but the medicines could change. Right. Yeah.
mm.
And I've got one disclosure to make before we say goodbye. There is no
Yeah.
medical aid that pays everything all the time. That doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So many people say, I pay for medical aid and I pay, and then I must still pay this and still pay that and still pay that. Those days
Mm,
of my era, when you had a medical aid and
Gone.
covered everything, is gone. It does not exist.
Mm,
Even if you're on the top of the
existed.
range of the top of the range, there is still
You still have to
shortfalls
pay.
where your gap cover can pay those co-payments and can pay all those stuff as well. But just if people can realize that a medical aid will not pay 100% of everything all the time, then you're good to go.
mm.
You know,
I
it's
wish
so
it did
nice saying
everything.
that, Anthony. I wanted to say, I think as people, we need to know the medical, if you've got medical aid, you need to know the
Your
plan
plan.
that you've got, on
Mm,
what it
Absolutely.
covers and
Yes.
how much it covers when
Yes.
you are not
Yes.
ill. Because I think it's frustrating for me to go to a doctor and the doctor says, I cannot take your medical aid, you might as well go to a government hospital. So just do a research on what is covered on the medical option that you've got so that you go to the right channel when you
Yes.
need medical attention.
Very, very, very true.
right. Oh,
Time flies, especially
thank
when
you.
you're having fun.
Exactly. Thank you so much for that
Thank you.
information. Really helpful. Just to to close everything off, in a recap manner,
Mm.
um, Figile mentioned that you have different plans
Yes.
that you can list. Are you able to list that for us so that we can refer back to it and say, okay, these are the plans that we can choose, and I'll make a decision then.
Okay, I can, but I'm only registered with
Mm,
two medical aids, so I can give you their plans. I
mm,
cannot speak on behalf of the others. So if you want me to, I can
mm,
share that with you.
Others.
yeah,
But I haven't got all the licenses by all the different medical aids.
mm,
Okay,
yeah,
is
yeah.
is that
No,
fine?
just the basics ones that you maybe you have access to. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
All right. So basically, what we've got is a hospital plan. I personally sell Bonitas and Fedals, and then I sell Sunlum Gap Cover. All right. So once again, I always put gap cover into it. So I never exclude it from a conversation. So your entry level with
Mm,
Fed Health has got a very nice entry level one for I think 980 rand. That is a hospital plan for young people that are healthy and everything. It's a new one they
Mm.
just launched this year, so it's brand new, and I you're not going to beat their price. But once again, it is a hospital plan. Then from there, you can Bonitas Start, Bonitas Plus. You can build up with your savings plan, and then your savings plan between Bonitas and Fedhealth. Fedhealth has got a vault, which means you'll have access to maybe 12,000 Rand, but you only take that money when you need it. And if you don't need it, you don't take it. So,
mm,
say you need 5,000 Rand, you take it,
You
and
charge
then
it.
you pay off that 5,000 Rand for over the next 12 months. And then the rest of the 7,000 will stay there. But if there's emergency, you can take it. Where Bonitas, they give you a set amount that you qualify for. Then you can have your entry level medical aid where it covers just about everything, but you'll have 3,000 Rand for doctors, 3,000 Rand for eyes, 3,000 Rand for medicine, 3,000 Rand for this. So they break up the different categories to make up the 12,000. And then once you've reached the limit of that 3,000, it's closed, then it's out of pocket until you've done the bridging, but all your other stuff you've still got access to, and then so it grows.
Mm.
But what's very nice about Bonitas and Fed Health is 30 days from diagnosis of a condition, you can upgrade to another plan. Where a lot of them you have to wait till the end of the year and you can only upgrade in January. But say person X he's
Mm.
healthy, everything is fine, and then all of a sudden they find he's got a heart murmur and he needs heart surgery. Within 30 days, he can upgrade. Or Mrs. X finds she's pregnant, within 30 days, she can upgrade to a plan that is more suited for the condition. And that's very, very nice about Fed Health and Benita's Medical Aid.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much, Anthony, for the information. And thank you for joining us. I think you gave us a scoop on how to choose medical aid and why it's important to have medical aid when we are still young, because it
Yes,
is said to be excluded for 12 months. You have to pay for medical aid and pay
Mm.
for your medication if it's a chronic condition. Thank you
that's
very
right.
much for your time.
You're very, very
Yes,
welcome.
thank you so much. Figile has wrapped it nicely for us by thanking you for that information, and I
Thank you
also
for
want
the
to thank
invite.
those that are connected. Uh, yeah, yeah.
A pleasure.
Hopefully, we can have you back
We'll see
sometime
you.
later if
We'll
we are
see you
free.
next week.
So thanks to those that are
All right.
connected on Telegram, on Riverside, on YouTube, and everywhere else, TikTok, and the podcast that will be coming out after the show. So catch us every Mondays at 6:30, and we have shows topics like these ones that touch on our mental wellness. I mean, medical aid, it is also a part of mental wellness. If you don't have one, you can go crazy, because
True.
now what the money that you have to pay for your medicals.
Yeah.
So we
Mhm.
do talk about those things, and we give you information from the professionals. We're not professionals as hosts, but then we bring you the professionals to the show to divulge the information that you need. So please join us next week once more. And thank you for joining us. My name is Naum Rapedi, the host of an MP Talk Show with my co-host Figi Lenkosi, and this is how
This
we
is
signing
Zainab.
out. You need internet? You need
Hey,
physical.
I'm not using internet for